Doctor Who, Enemy of the Daleks.
Surrender to Dalek forces or face extermination!
Professor, listen to me. The Daleks will have control of this sector within days, if not sooner. Either you come with us, or you'll die here.
In years to come, you'll be able to say you are here to witness the birth of a new species. Behold the Doctor! Behold the Xavier!
Hello and welcome YouTubers and Doctor Who fanatics to my review of Enemy of the Daleks, which I'm very excited to review. And not only that, we've reached 100 video reviews on the channel, so thank you very much for staying true to my channel. I would never reach that far. 100 reviews is just absolutely astonishing. I can't believe I've reached that much. But yes, we will be reviewing Enemy of the Daleks for the 100th review. And it stars Sylvester McCoy as the 7th Doctor, Sylvie Order as Ace, and Philip Olivia as Hex for this full cast audio drama. As you know, I've reviewed the Magic Mousetrap, so I decided to review the whole trilogy, since this is the one next. As well, the whole black and white Tardis arc, as the Magic Mousetrap starts that off. So in the description down below, I'll place all the stories I'll be reviewing, which are from the black and white Tardis arc. So if you want to go straight to the review and want to see how this audio is presented, then there is the time. So for the cover we have the 7th Doctor here, Ace and Hex with a Dalek, and it's nice that it interferes with this and goes over it. That's quite nice. And also we have the blue Doctor Who logo by here, and there's no variation at this time. So for the side of the CD, we have the 7th Doctor picture by there, Doctor Who Enemy of the Daleks in red, 121. And for the back is directed by Ken Bentley. I have a blurb on the story which I'll place in the description. The cast members featured in the story, which is very low, that can cover a 4th Doctor adventure audio. And it is 120 minutes approx. So if we open it up, we have the booklet and the 2 discs. This one opens this way with disc 1 and disc 2 with the 3rd Doctor's intro. And on disc 2 it features the 3 Companions bonus episode part 2. And that one again is quite good. I'll still rate it a 6 out of 10 as part 1. And we have advertisements for other 7th Doctor releases from the monthly range. So we have the booklet. If we open it up, we have the writer's notes from David Bishop, behind the scenes, the Companion Chronicle release, director's notes from Ken Bentley. Good old concept art by there, have a good look at that. And the next installment, of course, I will be reviewing shortly, which is the last one in the trilogy. Credits and Who's Who. Now to my review of Enemy of the Daleks by David Bishop. Out of the trilogy, this was the one I was most looking forward to, the second one. Magic Mousetrap was very, very good. Some brilliant, fantastic twists and overall brilliant storytelling. But I was saying to myself, Enemy of the Daleks has to be even better. The trilogy has to get better as it goes along. And that's going to be quite tough, as people say Magic Mousetrap is one of the best 7th Doctor stories, so I was saying, will it really beat it? But I was hoping it will. To explain this one, really action-packed, explosions, gunfire, shouting, and a very interesting Dalek story, a very unique one. So to the summary on this story, it takes place on the planet Bliss, which is known as a paradise world years before, but years went by, it just turned into a complete bleak and horrible, miserable planet. And we have an insight of 2 characters, which is the Lieutenant Beth Stokes and Sergeant Khan, who are fleeing from the Daleks. And of course the Doctor and the Companions get tied into the situation. But what's very interesting is that the Doctor knows about Bliss and knows what's going to happen, and refuses Hex and Ace to follow him. So yeah, it's very interesting that the Doctor knows what's going to happen, and he's very afraid to go back in this time as something quite serious and dark happens. Yeah, just listening to the opening summary of the plot intrigues the listener just to say, wow, there's so many questions I want to know right now. Why does the Doctor know all of this, and what is he fearing so much about Bliss and what's going to happen? So then I guess we could go this part by part. Part 1, completely action-packed throughout, battle score, epic music by Steve Foxton. I love the guitar score on this one as well. It really matches the Dalek and the actions. However, it doesn't really go with episode 3 and 4 that well. I'll explain that why in a minute. But yeah, it goes so well with the Daleks, it's brilliant. But yeah, you can listen to them on his SoundCloud, which is good. And of course they have some character interactions with Lieutenant Beth Stokes and Sergeant Khan, who are very military minded, extremely full of attitude and aggressive. And even though they're full of attitude, I still like their characters. But they're not the most interesting characters. The most interesting character is Professor Toshio. And I'm not going to go anywhere with his character. That's for you to find out, because I find him the most interesting. And great character interactions with the Doctor and him, which is absolutely great. As he's speaking about his experiments and his plans and about the Daleks. Some really good stuff there. Yeah, the Doctor and the companions get rather split up. Hex and Ace are doing their own thing, and the Doctor with Professor Toshio for the most part. So now we're coming to part 2, which is very similar to part 1, action-packed. But we have a little bit more hints of why the Doctor is dreading to come back to Bliss. However, in Ace and Hex's point of view of the story, it seems like an occasional runaround. Just running away from the Daleks, going to point A, to point B, to point C. But the interesting stuff is with Professor Toshio and the Doctor. Now part 3 and part 4 is really where the story just turns around and really impacts the Daleks in this one. Now the experiment with Professor Toshio was doing something extremely risky, as there are 2 threats in this story, and the other one is known as the Kasabian. Now the Kasabian are an absolutely horrifying and fantastic monster. Kasabian is actually a Chinese word, and what it means in English is parasite. So you are going to expect the Kasabian and the Daleks to go face to face. And yeah, this is probably the most biggest and darkest time for the Daleks in any Doctor Who story. Now we come to part 4, which is an epic conclusion to the story. The build-up is absolutely perfection, and the Doctor has to make a big decision on what he's going to do, and you can tell he's really dreading this, and one of his biggest moments in his lifetime. The Kasabian are a growing threat which can face the Daleks and overpower them, and you say to yourself, what if the Kasabian went against other beings, such as the Sontarans and the Cybermen, because they are a parasitic life form which eat metal and flesh. Yeah, this is the most darkest time for the Daleks in any Doctor Who story, so if you want to see the Daleks at their darkest time, Enemy of the Daleks is definitely one you should look into getting. The build up to it is absolutely perfection, and I love part 4, it's absolutely fantastic. And I forgot about that little criticism about the music. The Daleks work really well with the guitar soundtrack, but not the Kasabian. I was hoping more of a creepy soundtrack for them, as the guitar doesn't really go with them very well, but that's my personal opinion. Now we come to the characters, starting with the 7th Doctor. Fantastic performances, and I love how he keeps talking in riddles, as he doesn't really want to say what's going to happen. But yeah, the Doctor has been very secretive of what's going to happen to Bliss, and this true dark moment in history. Now Ace's character is very military minded, just like the other 2 supporting characters. Again, doesn't do too much in the story, rather goes against the Daleks, but again, brilliant performances. And Hex does take some risky moves in this story. I'll leave that to you what that's all about. His character is a lot more independent, as he can save other lives and put his own at risk. But some of the stuff he does is rather risky, too risky in fact. With the supporting characters, we've only got 4, which is Lieutenant Beth Stokes, Sergeant Khan, Professor Toshio, and Systematic. Lieutenant Beth Stokes and Sergeant Khan are pretty much just exactly the same, military minded, very deluded, and full of attitude. Now I do like their characters, they can be a little annoying sometimes. Professor Toshio is the most interesting character with his experiment. Again, I don't want to go through his intentions or anything like that, I'll leave that all to you. But again, brilliant character interactions with Professor Toshio and the 7th Doctor. And then finally we have Systematic, who I didn't like at all. He was just a robot AI. He wasn't used at all. He just in episode 1 and 2 and some interactions with Hex, and that's about it. I found Systematic quite annoying, but then glad at the same time he wasn't too much in the story or the plot. So then, to my rating of Enemy of the Daleks. It is a 9.5 out of 10, that's a very strong rating. Yes, it beats the Magic Mousetrap. Honestly, I think this is even better than the Magic Mousetrap, which is great. The trilogy is getting better as it goes along. Hopefully the final installment will do so. Credit where credit's due, David Bishop is one talented writer. I gotta get his BBC books, as I think this is his only Big Finish audio he's written, so I'm definitely gonna get into his books. I think this is my favourite 7th Doctor story. It's absolutely brilliant, so action-packed, epic, guns going off, fighting, Daleks, one of the most darkest times in Doctor Who, and the 7th Doctor has to make a great decision. Overall, one of the best Big Finishes I've ever listened to. So yeah, that's a good way to go for a 100 review, a brilliant story like that. So thank you for watching my review of Enemy of the Daleks. Definitely pick it up. Why wouldn't you? It's such a good story. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one for Suburban Hell. Have a good one.
Doctor Who, Enemy of the Daleks.
One of the worst atrocities committed during the Dalek Wars happens at this research facility. Here, now. The sort I never wanted either of you to witness. I'm sorry. You're part of a Valkyrie unit?
Yes.
Never heard of them.
An all-female fighting force created to combat the most dangerous, most malevolent alien species ever to attack mankind.
Oh no, don't say it.
Say what?
What he's about to say.
And what's he about to say?
Daleks.
Attention! All humans on the planetoid designated Bliss will surrender to Dalek forces or face extermination.
Professor, listen to me. The Daleks will have control of the sector within days, if not sooner. Either you come with us, or you'll die here.
In years to come, you'll be able to say you are here to witness the birth of a new species. Behold, Doctor! Behold the Xavier, the savior of mankind!
You wasted that brilliance on an act of madness. And that madness endangers every life form in the galaxy.
I've had enough, alright? I've seen and heard more people die today than in my whole life, and I've had enough!
Ace Hex, try to understand. What's about to happen will happen, has happened, must happen. I've been searching for my part in these events ever since we landed here.
Have mercy, Doctor. Exterminate me. Exterminate me!